Monday morning, folks, and welcome to a brand new episode of FINMET Mondays. I'm your host, Shawn Fernandes, and I'm joined by a very special guest all the way from Dubai, our very own Mr. Pramod Mohan. Pramod, a very warm welcome to you on the podcast. Pramod is the co founder and director of FINMET Group. It is a pleasure and an honor to have you on the podcast, Pramod.
Good morning, Sean, and thanks for the
So,
invite.
Pramod, we marked the 2 year anniversary of the agreement, the Cepa agreement between India and UAE. So we've seen a major boost in imports of gold and silver both because of this agreement and more through the Iibx route. What are some of the recent developments that you've seen in regards to Cepa flows through Iibx?
Initially, it was just the banks that was doing the Cepa Gold, and we have seen it really took some time for the banks to warm up to it and then finally get the imports in place. Whereas IIBX were pretty quick. They rolled out the contracts for gold and the volume slowly started. But the real game changer has been the silver. In the last couple of weeks, we have seen a big jump in terms of volumes of gold as well as silver. So what has changed? The overseas suppliers, when they import through the exchange, immediately in 2 days' time, they're able to get the funds back. When you're doing consignment through a bank, we're talking about at least a week. When it comes to the exchange, the overseas suppliers are in a position to get the money very quickly, which helps them to do more rotations. The second thing I wanted to just point out is the news that came in a couple of weeks back, where along with the qualified dwellers, commercial banks can actively participate in the exchange. I think that's going to be a big game changer.
Talking about Dubai, Pramod, the news we got at the end of last week, specifically Friday, was UAE's exit from the FATF Grey List. What has been some of the changes that the UAE governments have kind of introduced to be able to achieve this?
We got a very good idea in terms of what they have done last week when FinMet had organized the workshop for the UAE commercial banks, how they can support the precious metal sector along with World Gold Council. So one of the standout sessions was done by Mr. Abid, the AML expert from Ministry of Economy, where he clearly showed the changes that has happened in the UAE on this particular sector. So right from how from a single man department, they have a team of 60 plus now in terms of the number of enforcement that has happened in the last couple of years, the changes, and the monitoring mechanism that they have in place. In fact, one of the risk managers from the local banks clearly said that they're much more comfortable looking at the sector after seeing the presentation.
Thank you so much for giving us a much rounded perspective. Let's quickly look at the technical outlook for spot gold this week. We saw a bounce back from the 1982 support right here. This was a couple of weeks back, or rather last week, and you've seen a huge spike back up. We've had an inflation print that has been high, a labor data that has come in that has confirmed that the strength of the labor market continues to be on the upside. Yet we've seen quite a lot of increases in price action on a day-to-day basis. We've just not been able to clear this entire area, which is 2080. And this is going to start kind of weighing on the technical outlook of spot gold. The technical outlook for this week is that we're going to continue to see the metal remain in this tight trajectory between 2050 to 1982. 1982 is much more on the lower side. We have an inflation reading coming up, and we're not yet there to threaten any of either the upsides, which is 2050, or the downsides, which is 1980. So this $70 range is where we're likely to kind of continue to remain. Thanks, Pramod. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your valuable views on Dubai markets, on Cepa, and a lot more. Thank you so much, and goodbye.